A dramatic spread of U.S. military power is underway tonight, from the skies over Britain to the cold waters of the North Atlantic. Major U.S. Air Force assets are touched down in Britain in a stunning escalation of global tensions. Dozens of U.S. military aircraft, including heavy transport C-17 Globemasters and AC-130J Ghostrider gunships, have landed at RAF bases in Suffolk and Gloucestershire in the past few days. Flight tracking and eyewitness reports confirm the surge of air power on British soil, marking one of the most intense movements of American forces in Europe in years. At the same time, reconnaissance jets like RC-135 and P-8 maritime patrol aircraft have been seen over the North Atlantic, keeping constant surveillance on a controversial target, a Russian-flagged oil tanker known as the Marinara. The vessel at the heart of this drama was originally named Bella 1, a sanctioned tanker linked to Venezuelan crude and alleged illicit oil transport. After evading U.S. Coast Guard attempts to board off Venezuela months ago, the ship suddenly turned northeast, repainted its hull, took on the Russian flag, and renamed itself Marinara in an apparent bid to escape Washington's grip. For more than 2 weeks, American forces, backed by UK surveillance support, tracked the ship as it moved deeper into the North Atlantic, roughly on a course toward Iceland and European waters, raising the stakes internationally. Today, the U.S. seized control of the Marinara in the North Atlantic after a prolonged pursuit and surveillance operation, a rare direct U.S. action against a Russian-flagged vessel outside traditional conflict zones. American authorities say the operation was executed under a warrant issued by a U.S. federal court for violations of U.S. sanctions, and U.S. Coast Guard personnel are now aboard the tanker. Officials add that despite earlier reports of a Russian submarine and naval escort shadowing the ship, there were no reports of a direct clash between U.S. and Russian forces during the seizure itself. This isn't happening in a vacuum. The tanker operation unfolds just days after U.S. forces captured Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, and during an unprecedented diplomatic firestorm over proposals floated by U.S. President Donald Trump that the United States might pursue Greenland through various options, including military measures. European leaders, from Denmark to the United Kingdom, have condemned talk of Greenland acquisition, warning it could fracture long-standing alliances like NATO and destabilize the wider region. The controversy spilled into Britain's Parliament, putting Prime Minister Keir Starmer under intense pressure.
Mr. Speaker, Geoffrey Robertson, KC, is a respected authority on international law. He's also the head of the Prime Minister's barrister chambers. And he couldn't be clearer. President Trump's actions in Venezuela are illegal. He says the United States, and I quote, is in breach of the United Nations Charter and has committed the crime of aggression, which the court at Nuremberg described as the supreme crime. Does the Prime Minister agree with his old mentor, or has he got it wrong?
Well, there's plenty of things that Geoff and I have agreed on or disagree with over the years, but let me set out our position. It is our long-standing position that Maduro was not a legitimate president in Venezuela. And so nobody, I think, sheds any tears at his removal. And what we need, what we were saying before the weekend, and we say again, is there needs to be a peaceful transition to democracy in Venezuela. Now, the benchmark of all actions of all countries is, of course, international law, and it is for the US to justify its actions accordingly. My focus is on the defence and security of the United Kingdom, and yesterday we were working with NATO allies, including the US, on security guarantees for Ukraine, and it's only with security guarantees that we'll have a just and lasting peace in Ukraine, which is vitally important for Ukraine, for Europe and for the United Kingdom.
Sir Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister just looks ridiculous when he won't tell the truth that Trump has broken international law. But turning to Donald Trump's next target, the Prime Minister was right to give the Danish Prime Minister his backing over Trump's threats to annex Greenland, and I welcome his joint statement with other European leaders. But does he also agree that if Trump does attack Greenland, it will be the end of NATO? And given that frightening possibility, does he accept that the UK needs to increase defence spending more quickly than currently planned and build new alliances with reliable nations?
Mr. Speaker, let me be, the Greenland issue is obviously very, very important. I thank him for raising it. The future of Greenland is for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark, and for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark alone. And yesterday, people have seen that I put out a statement to that effect, along with fellow allies in Europe. And of course, NATO is hugely important, the single most effective and important military alliance the world has ever known. He keeps encouraging me to sort of tug away at parts of NATO and to choose between Europe and the US. That would be a strategic mistake for our country.
The latest developments leave the world standing at a crossroads. Will Western allies be drawn deeper into a widening confrontation? And how long can such an extraordinary projection of U.S. military power remain contained? One thing is certain: the geopolitical ground is shifting, and the consequences are only just beginning to unfold.